It's the Las Vegas Sportsline.
All right, here we go. It's the Wednesday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. I'm Dave Cokin. Patrick Everson will be along in a little bit, but Teddy Covers is here right now. And that means we're going to have a lot of fun for the next hour talking about a variety of things. Let's see. Where do I want to begin? It would be nice if I could find my rundown of the show. What was it? What did I have listed for the first thing today?
You want to talk about the Rebels off the bat?
Oh, yes, that's what it was.
Sure, because it just wasn't pretty.
We didn't. I don't know anybody who expected them to win the game.
Nope.
And if you look at the final score, it was like, it's not too bad. It was really bad. The first half was a disaster. They could not get anything going offensively. Nevada was getting really easy looks. UNLV could not find an open lane and had to settle for contested threes. I mean, it was a complete mismatch.
I mean, Nevada's really good. Let's give them credit rather than rip us. It's not a situation where we did what we're capable of doing. We didn't play a great first half. We didn't play a great game. Listen, I'm no alum, but I've been in Vegas for 20 years.
Well,
I call them we.
Yeah, same thing. I'm here for closing in on 40, so they're the local team.
Sure, they're we, and the guys from up north are the guys from up north. But right now, the program from up north is a little bit ahead of our program, and that certainly showed on the floor last night.
That's a lot ahead.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Look, I'm not making no secret of this. I'm not blaming Menzies. But if there's an opportunity to hire Rick Pitino, do it. Just do it. Do it. Make him an offer and get him out here. He'll win. He'll put butts in the seats.
I won't argue with that conceptually, but I mean, this is a rough run that UNLV is going to have for the next couple of weeks. I mean, the schedule's brutal.
Oh boy, yeah.
It's not just the last two games; it's upcoming as well. So there's been a correction from that 5-1 start to Mountain West play.
The New Orleans Pelicans are about to be Anthony Davis-less.
No,
well, it might be not till the end of the season. He's not going to be there next year. They'll move him before next season. I don't think they're going to move him real quickly. But the bottom line is they're a team in disarray right now. But you're still going to play defense in the NBA, and the Rockets refused to do that last night and lost at home to the Pelicans. That's a pretty bad loss, actually.
I mean, the concept of Houston being a contender is silly to me because at no point this season have they played like a serious contender in the West. They have a superstar player who is able to do just about everything on the floor a man can do, and who you can't defend because he goes to he gets to the free throw line.
He's amazing.
I mean, if you breathe on him, it seems like he goes to the free throw line. But even with all of that, they're still not. With that, and of course, it's still early in the process.
Yeah,
they've had guys hurt.
Capella's been hurt, and he's an integral part.
I don't think I don't look at the Rockets as the second best team in the West, and my power ratings have shown that all season.
No, I think they've gone backwards since last season. And Lakers, no match for the 76ers. But the good news, return from LeBron is on the horizon. It probably won't be in the next game, but he's getting close.
Well, honestly, I thought the trade talk with Anthony Davis to L.A., I thought it affected all the Lakers' young players last night. They looked out of sorts at the start of that game. They were just out of sync offensively, and Philly came out with their hair on fire. They had a no-show game in Denver earlier in the week, and they came out like they wanted to beat somebody, and they did.
Are the Lakers going to make the playoffs?
Yes, the Lakers are going to make the playoffs.
Just getting, I haven't been following this stuff that closely, and I'm seeing a lot of losses, and they're going to have to pick it up when LeBron comes back, but I think they will.
Sure. I mean, right now they're sitting in the 9 seed in the West behind the Clippers, with 2 games behind the Clips, 3 games behind the Jazz. The question is, who doesn't make the playoffs out of the group? Utah's stepped it up again.
Yeah, they have.
The Spurs.
And they usually get better late in the season at home because the altitude starts to matter more.
Sure. And the Spurs, which was a team that, didn't play well coming out of the gate, it's a Popovich team. They're good.
I think the Clippers might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
That would be, if I had to pick one team to drop out of the top 8 to be replaced by the Lakers, it would be the Clippers.
I would agree wholeheartedly. In the East, there's, it's starting to be such a separation between the 8 in and the 8 out. So we're talking right now, you can make a case that 15 of the 16 teams that are currently playoff teams will make the playoffs when all's said and done. So,
and in the East, they'll be jockeying for position to try and face the Oladipo-less Pacers because that team's not beating anybody in the playoffs. Unfortunately, he was that important to the team, and they're not beating anybody in a series, I don't think, in the
with
Eastern Conference.
33 games to go, however, they have an 11-game lead over the 9.
Oh, they're going to make the playoffs, I would think, unless they completely collapse.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll see tonight. They have an interesting game against the Wizards. And both teams are talking it up as being an important game.
And I guess from a standpoint of those two teams, it is. Not in the big picture, but hey. All right, time for us to look ahead a little bit to tonight's action. We're going to save the Jazz and Blazers. It's the TNT game, or is it ESPN? It's Wednesday, so I think it's ESPN, right. Sorry. So we'll save that for the marquee matchup, as it's a pretty good matchup in the Western Conference tonight. And we will begin in college basketball as we start the MJ Christensen 4-4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
All right, so an interesting game to start things off. SEC, Ole Miss, and Florida matching up. Florida, right now, if you're looking at the bubble, and we'll talk a little more about that in today's show. Florida, I believe, is now one of the first 4 out or last 4 in, one of those. So they're already in that place you kind of don't want to be.
Dicey town.
Mississippi just dropped out of the top 25 after losing back-to-back games last week, and they had a really bad defensive performance against Iowa State in the Big 12 SEC matchup over the weekend. Kermit Davis and the players not very pleased with their performance in that game. If you look up, if you look at how these teams have gotten to where they are, it's fairly clear, to me at least, Ole Miss is the better basketball team than Florida. Ole Miss has some good wins this year, some real quality wins. Florida's best win is against Butler, and that was in a rare non-conference same-season revenge spot where they'd lost the first time to Butler, and Butler was disinterested in the rematch and got absolutely smoked. Their other best win is against Arkansas. I think Florida's an overrated basketball team. I don't think they are an NCAA tournament team right now. They are defensively, they are offensively. I think there's just not a very good offense here. And if Mississippi's coming to play defense tonight off 2 straight losses that dropped them out of the top 25, I think the Rebels have a really good chance to win this game.
Well, this is one where you and I are going to disagree a little bit. Because I've been looking at Ole Miss all year and going, when's this team going to come back to earth? When's this team going to come back to earth? And lo and behold, they had this incredible run of wins and covers. And over the last couple of weeks, we've seen them lose 3 out of 4. And the only win during that span came against the aforementioned Arkansas Razorbacks, who are not the toughest team to beat, and they got them at home and they ran them out of the gym. I like the way Ole Miss is playing, but I think there are physical limitations with that team, particularly when it comes to their interior size, their ability to dominate the glass. They've been getting out-rebounded, and that's an area that I think Florida has the capacity to take advantage of them. So I thought the price was a little bit cheap on the Gators. If I'm playing, Dave, I'm laying.
And I did play, and I took. So, one of us will be happy. Marquette,
you and I don't often disagree on stuff like that, so it's fun to have a little
it is,
with.
Yeah. Marquette and Butler will match up tonight, and Marquette, Villanova accepting Villanova, which now has reestablished itself as we're better than everybody else in this league. But Marquette is the team that I think poses the biggest threat to them come tournament time. Big East tournament time. Marquette looks like a cinch to be in the NCAA tournament. They're a quality team. I don't know what to make of Butler. Butler is like several Big East teams. On their good nights, they are very good and can play with anybody. But they have bad games where they're really bad. And, they look like DePaul out there. Tough team to size up. At home tonight, you would think Butler will be fired up for this game. It's a big one for them. But they could have some matchup problems with Marquette in this game. The Marquette side this is not last year's Marquette team, which was soft and had to rely on three-pointers and really couldn't play defense. This Marquette team's a lot tougher than last year's team was physically.
And Marcus Howard's just a monster.
Oh, boy.
I mean, what's he scored? 31, 23, 24, 26, 53, 26. His last 6 full games.
James Harden thinks that's impressive.
Exactly. And Butler beat him up last year, both meetings. Beat him by 20 and 11. Butler swept him the year before, too. So this is one that Marquette probably wants more than the average game in that regard. And you talk about this Butler team. I mean, they're not playing good ball. They've lost their last 2. They've lost 6 of their last 9 overall.
I thought they were very unimpressive against, I forget who they played last week. Was it at Creighton? It's whoever they played on the road last week, and they weren't good in that game.
Creighton, yeah.
It was Creighton, okay.
Yeah, they lost at home to Nova, and then they went out and played Creighton and had a rough, really on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
They didn't play well. Maybe a little post-Nova hangover.
Could be, or maybe the other team was just better than they are. We'll talk about them No, we're not talking about them today, but just mention that Crampage or whatever his name is, the big kid who got hurt last year for Creighton, he's finally finding his form from pre-injury, and they're a different team with him playing well on the floor. Watch out for Creighton. Anyway, let's go on to the believe it or not, 2 teams going in opposite directions, and they are.
I know.
Indiana is not playing well, and Rutgers suddenly showing some signs of life. Rutgers, I think, getting a little support from some sharp players at the window today. I'm not involved in the game, but I can see that. Rutgers has got a little positive momentum right now, a little bit of good stuff happening for the program, and Indiana's kind of in a free fall at this point.
So, back-to-back win for Rutgers. I saw them beat Penn. I was watching the Penn State game, and they were the better team.
Yeah, they were.
And maybe just as importantly, for a team that hasn't been able to eke anything out, they were tough down the stretch. They found a way to win that game. And, Indiana, you talked about them last week as a team that you weren't real excited about, and we talked about the Michigan game last week and said neither one of us could make a case for the home dog, and unfortunately, neither one of us made a case for the road favorite either. Yeah. A strong one. And we talked about, why we wouldn't take Indiana, but not why we would take Michigan. But I don't look at Indiana as a team I'm excited about laying anything with on the highway.
And we'll go to the NBA. NHL. Lightning and Penguins matching up tonight. That's exciting. The Penguins, after a big hot streak, cooled off right before the All-Star break and have not warmed up coming out of the break. So they need to get things going at home tonight against Tampa. Now, the good news for Pittsburgh is they've got a game under their belt, and Tampa is coming off their long layoff. And what we're seeing already is that these strong teams, first game back off the layoff, not so strong. We've seen it we saw it again last night. Columbus, big favorite at home, lost to the Buffalo Sabres. Bruins ended up getting bet way up in the morning against the Winnipeg Jets. In fact, it was kind of absurd. I actually got plus 155 with the Jets at one point in that game. It dropped down a little bit, getting closer to game time. I was like, what kind of a line is that? And sure enough, the Jets go in and win the shootout in that game. So now you get Tampa, which is the best team in the league. But they're coming off a long layoff and facing a team that isn't very happy with the way they played the other night in their first game out of the break, and I think they've lost 4 out of 5 right now. And Sidney Crosby, who's generally not the most vocal guy in the world, he was vocal after the last game. I don't think the Penguins might be coming to play tonight.
They might, and the market is certainly indicating that. But the one thing with Tampa, they're not laying a big price.
No.
I mean, you're talking about the $1.15 on the road, $1.20 for the best team in the league. That's fairly cheap.
It is.
But the interest, and look, I don't know a thing about hockey, but I do know this. There's 7s on this total.
Oh, yeah. And
that's something you don't see every day.
I think the first period over is on 2, I believe, which you certainly don't see. Well, look, I mean.
The runs. The Tampa overs are ridiculous, right?
It's been phenomenal.
First period, what?
I don't know, 25-3 or some ridiculous thing.
Sure, but
you got to start you have to start putting 2s up because 1.5 minus 230 isn't scaring anybody. Okay, it's like okay, fine, I'll take it. All you need is 2 goals in the first period from a high-powered offensive team. Why not? Go ahead and lay the juice. 2 is another story. Now you got to get 3 goals. Of course, you still push on 2, so I still think the over is going to get play, particularly since now you don't have to lay any juice.
Do you think it'll attract wise guys taking the under 2
in the
first period?
I don't think that's a sharp.
Get enough down?
I don't think it's a sharp bet because it's sharp only if you're looking for a tie, which is not the idea of making a wager. You're not not wagering. I'm in good position to get a push on this one. Not really what you want to do.
Well, that's the whole concept of like searching for the 3 if you're like the Rams. It's like, hey,
right.
I mean, that's
football,
why you're doing it.